I just sat through the entire Fani Willis trial today in Georgia. My first reaction is wow, that was a lot. It was very long. There were three main characters who were very different. I thought the judge was very fair. Fani Willis took the stand at she was the last witness, and she's a very feisty lady, let me just say. She seems very indignant. She seems very cross that she's even has to be there. Nathan Wade took the stand also. He was the second person to take the stand earlier than she did. And then the first person to take the stand was who I'm going to start with, because that was the lady who contradicts what both Mr. Wade and Ms. Willis claim. And that goes to the heart of the question. Basically, the Trumpists, there's a whole bunch of lawyers there. The main lady who was questioning all of the witnesses was a Miss Ashley Merchant, who is kind of a hot mess as a lawyer. She's very flustery. She got flustered a lot. She got dates confused constantly. She was not clear in her questioning. She was very vague. She seemed to be on a fishing expedition, as lawyers would say, which I'm not a lawyer, and thank God. I can't wait to see the drama, the actual movie version of this. It will be great. But wow, it's a lot to sit through. It's a lot of privilege and arguing and objections and blah blah blah. It's quite boring actually. But there were some great moments, which especially from Fani Willis herself. So let me just explain. Fani Willis is claiming that her relationship with Mr. Wade was not inappropriate and that she did not hire him because he was her boyfriend, or that they were not involved in a romantic relationship then. So she hired him to be the lead prosecutor investigating the Trump election case, which I don't really know what has been investigated because Trump tried to steal the election and it's all recorded, etc. So that's just another story. But she said that she hired Mr. Wade in November 2021 and to be the lead prosecutor, and she agreed that they began a relationship, a romantic relationship. They had a friendship prior to that, but they began a relationship in 2022, so that nobody can claim that she hired him because he was her lover. This is very important. So the lawyers spent the whole day trying to establish the timeline of their relationship. And unfortunately, the first witness, who I believe was a hostile witness, she did not want to be there, was a lady named Robin Yeartie. Now, Robin Yeartie is a college friend of Ms. Willis. They did not go to the same college. They went to colleges near each other. She went to Howard, and she said later on that Ms. Yeartie went to Morgan State. So I believe that was Morgan State. So they knew each other since the 1990s. They've all known each other for 30-something years. But Ms. Willis said they were not friends that entire time. They reconnected about 10 years ago. Now, Ms. Yeartie was very short in her answers. Yes, no. She didn't seem like she wanted to be there. She was actually testified on Zoom after her lawyers tried to prevent her from testifying, etc. So I'm not sure that she wanted to testify. But in sum, Robin Yeartie says that Ms. Willis and Mr. Wade began their relationship. So Fani Willis and Nathan Wade began a romantic relationship shortly after they first met in 2019. Obviously, that would be hugely scandalous because that would mean that she did hire her boyfriend, which is unethical. I think the whole thing is quite unethical, but as I said, I'm not a lawyer and I do not know exactly all the codes and ordinances of Georgia and state officials, and apparently some of the people in the room do not know that. So Robin Yeartie is saying that she was a good friend of Ms. Wade's, and Ms. Willis. Oh, it was so confusing. There's Wade Willis, Fani Willis, and that she is no longer friends with Ms. Willis because Ms. Willis ended up renting a condo from her, and then she also worked in the DA's office. So Robin Yeartie was working in the same DA's office with Fani Willis, and she basically was given the choice to resign or she would have been let go. So she could be dismissed as being a disgruntled employee, but I'm not sure. That will depend on the judge if he wants to believe what she says or not. Now, They have not spoken for the last 2 years. So they are also, not only is she a disgruntled former employee, Ms. Yeartie, which could undermine her testimony that she knew about this relationship from 2019, but she is also a former employee who, as I said, could be dismissed as a disgruntled employee, and she's also a former friend. So these things could stand against her, right? It's not clear. Mr. Wade had a very different style of testimony. He was very Southern. He was like, yes, sir, yes, ma'am, to everybody. He seemed credible. He seemed very thoughtful, and he was very slow in his testimony, and they would ask him questions, and it would take a long time because they went on many trips together. So the highlight of that is that he claims that Fani Willis paid him in cash anytime that he swiped his business card for the trips, which then he would pay personally after that, okay? So it's not like a scandal, that part of it. Although he did use a business credit card for all his expenses, but then he says his accountant or whatever takes it out. So he said that she paid him in cash. And then the lawyers were trying to be like, did she go to the ATM to give you cash? Because it was sometimes she would pay him back for trips he had actually organized. So when Fani Willis finally took the stand, Fani Willis was very fiery, and she was very, very angry. And she had some great lines, which I'm sorry, they were so great. So she basically has said that her father told her that she should always keep 6 months of expenses in the house in cash, so that her whole life she's done that. And that her father always said, when you go on a date, you take money so that if it goes bad, you should have money. So she seems to carry around a lot of cash and keep cash in her house. And she said that a man is not a plan for her. She's an independent woman. She said, nobody gives me anything. She says, she was very impressive, actually, because she really established authority. As soon as she took the stand, she was bristling with anger. She was furious. But as soon as she took the stand, she was very angry with this Ashley Merchant blonde lady lawyer for one of the Trumpies, because she just said that, you're an officer of the court, I hope you're telling the truth now. And she's claimed that the woman lied. And at one point she got so angry, and she started throwing up the filings and said, these are all lies, and you told so many lies about me. And the judge actually had to have a recess. And then he came back and cautioned her, and he said that that if she doesn't calm down, basically, he's going to have to strike her testimony. But she was very clear that she doesn't like that merchant lady, and she was very clear that no man has ever paid for anything in her life. She said, the only man who's ever paid for me is my daddy. And they all had great Southern accents to my mamas and daddies, and I wish I had such a good accent like that, but I don't. So I learned a lot from it about the different personalities, and I can see that she takes umbrage at these allegations. She wants to prove that she's innocent. She doesn't think she's done anything wrong, although I think having a relationship with someone in your office is not very professional. I don't know if it's wrong, but it's definitely doesn't look good. I have no idea what's going to happen. The judge is going to come back and start the trial again tomorrow at 9 a.m. in the morning. But Fani Willis and Nathan Wade are going to be basically either disqualified from this case or allowed to continue, or maybe one or the other or both. But Fani Willis said that she believes that she said, and this was her most stunning statement, she yelled at one of the lawyers and said, these people are on trial for trying to steal an election in 2020, talking about the Trump defendants and their lawyers. She says, I am not on trial, no matter how hard you're trying to put me on trial. And she claimed that she doesn't want to give away all these personal details. I actually felt sorry for her and Mr. Wade, because both of them said that they're very private people. And now it's like everybody's in their business, their sex lives, their divorces from other people, their children. At one point, somebody asked her where one of her children was. She said, I'm not going to tell you the location of my child. And why should she? She's getting death threats. She has a security team. It's actually very hectic. So I just want to say I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm very nervous. I feel scared. I feel that she seems like a very together woman, and I wish she hadn't put herself in this situation. And I would like her to be able to continue being the lawyer to prosecute this, but I'm not sure if she will be. And so I'll see you tomorrow. This was day one, excruciating Law and Order, Trump and Fani Willis.